And staying in Washington, the so-called Big Beautiful Bill could be hitting a roadblock. The bill includes a package of tax cuts, military and border security spending. It also has some cuts to Medicaid. Senate Republicans are now forced to rewrite key sections after they were tossed out by the Senate's nonpartisan rule keeper. They were hoping to pass the bill by July 4th, but now it could slide past the holiday. For more now, I'm joined by Oklahoma Republican Senator James Lankford. Thank you so much, Senator, for your time tonight. So President Trump today relented a little in his push to get Senate Republicans to pass the so-called Big Beautiful Budget Bill by July 4th, saying it's important, but not calling it the end all, right? So what is the biggest sticking point right now in negotiations, and when might we see a vote?
Yeah, we're hoping to get a vote as quickly as we can get everything all together on it. Obviously, it's 1,000 pages. Most of it has been out there in public for now days to weeks, actually, as we've released each chapter day by day over the last 2 weeks. But we've got several different issues that are all coming together at the end, as we always do on a bill this large. Every part of this bill has to be what's called scored by the Congressional Budget Office to see the budget effect, and then it has to go to the parliamentarian and go through a review. If the parliamentarian says, no, I disagree with one section of this, it has to go back through that process again.
Certainly many steps involved. I want to talk about Medicare for a bit while we have you. Roughly 1 in 4 Oklahomans rely on Medicare. The bill would cut some funding to Medicaid. We know that. Last time we had you on Prime, you pointed to the fact that the cuts come in the form of work requirements for able-bodied adults with no children. Oklahoma has the second highest population by percent of Native Americans in the U.S., and the unemployment rate is higher among that population. Are you seeking any carve-outs? So if there are any places that just it won't work for you, those folks that are there any carve-outs for you? What are your sticking points?
Yeah, the key areas that we're looking to make sure that we're protecting are things like disabled children, those folks that are pregnant moms. I mean, those folks that they cannot provide a work environment. But if you're an able-bodied individual with no dependents, we want to be able to encourage work for those individuals. That's helpful for them. That's helpful for their families. That's also helpful for the entire nation. It's better if a person transitions off Medicaid and moves to employer-provided health care than it does by their next-door neighbor providing their health care through their taxes. That's a much better formula for everybody in the process.
So if folks aren't able to get work, and those folks can still get access to Medicaid, right?
Yes, they would be. So in high unemployment time periods, there's already statements that we have in this where if there's a very high time of unemployment, people are not able to get to work on that. They couldn't do that. But this is the way we've set this up is 20 hours a week, but it would be work 20 hours a week or volunteer 20 hours a week or get job training 20 hours a week. It's a pretty low threshold. It's basically an incentive to be able to say you've got to get up and to actually be engaged in your community. If you're an able-bodied individual with no dependents, we need you up inside society and inside of our economy.
Finally, getting your reaction to the Supreme Court birthright decision today. The court did not weigh in on the merits of the case. I understand you are in favor of the court's decision to limit nationwide injunctions. I'm curious, though, with regards to birthright citizenship itself, do you think the status quo should continue where a baby born in the U.S. to a non-U.S. citizen is given citizenship?
So let me back up and take both those. Yes, I'm very clear on the nationwide injunctions, and I've been consistent, both Republicans and Democrats, when they've been in the White House. We should not have nationwide injunctions. That's the job of the Supreme Court, not of lower courts on it. Lower courts should not make a decision for the whole nation. The Supreme Court should make decisions for the whole nation. And so glad that they have reset that. Now, what it was for, quite frankly, the first 200 years of our country, that's the way it was. When you get into birthright citizenship, I'm one of those folks that would say, we do have to look at this as a nation and say if someone illegally crosses into our country and then has a child, should that person have the full rights of everyone else in the country? And I would say no.
So I just want to follow up on that. How would this work? So someone who is not here legally gives birth and that baby now is not a citizen of any country. What country would that baby be tied to?
Would be connected to their parents the same way it is for every diplomat that comes into our country. When a baby is born of a diplomat in our country, they're a citizen of the country that the parents are from, and not that they're where they are presently at this point. That already happens all the time right now.
We will see what the Supreme Court decides. Thank you so much, Senator. Appreciate your time.
You bet. Glad to visit.